The Notorious. Conor McGregor's nickname, The Notorious, is a direct nod to his larger-than-life personality, and it's inspired by the Notorious B.I.G., the legendary rapper. McGregor has said that he admired the Notorious B.I.G., whose music and persona reflected confidence, flair, and defiance, traits Conor saw in himself. So the Notorious wasn't given to him by coaches or fans. He chose it himself and fully leaned into it, using it to craft one of the most iconic personas in combat sports history. Bones. Jon Jones' nickname Bones has been with him since high school, and it has nothing to do with him breaking bones or being a deadly striker. The nickname came from his coach during high school wrestling, who noticed Jon had an unusually thin and lanky frame, especially compared to other wrestlers in his weight class. So his coach started calling him Bones. Even as Jon filled out physically and became a dominant athlete, the name never left, and by the time he got into the UFC, Jon Bones Jones was already his full fighting identity, the Eagle. Khabib Nurmagomedov's nickname, the Eagle, is a powerful symbol of both his homeland and his philosophy as a fighter. Khabib hails from Dagestan, a republic in the North Caucasus region of Russia. The eagle is a national and cultural symbol of Dagestan. It represents strength, pride, freedom, and dominance over the mountains. Khabib has once said he chose the eagle to honor his roots and showcase where he came from on the world stage. Du Bronx. Charles Oliveira's nickname Du Bronx is one of the most unique and personal in the UFC, and it's not about fighting style or attitude, but where it came from. In Portuguese, Du Bronx translates to from the Bronx, but it doesn't refer to the Bronx in New York. It actually points to his favela in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which locals named the Bronx because of its poverty, crime, and rough conditions, much like the reputation of the actual Bronx decades ago. When Charles started training and competing, people would call him Charles from the Bronx, to reference where he grew up. Eventually, that shortened into Charles Du Bronx, almost like a badge of honor. It's not just a nickname, it's a declaration of survival and pride in making it out of one of Brazil's toughest areas to become a UFC champion. El Matador. Born to Georgian parents in Germany and raised in Spain, he learned his nickname early in his MMA journey as a reference to Spanish bullfighting, highlighting his powerful, precise striking technique, likening his ability to take down opponents like a matador facing a bull. Initially, Topuria wasn't fully comfortable with the violent connotation of killing a bull, but he embraced it as a fitting emblem for his finishing instincts in the octagon. In March 2025, ahead of moving up to lightweight, he announced a rebranding to La Leyenda, meaning the legend. However, shortly after, he reverted back to El Matador, with many fans reacting that the original nickname was more fitting and less pretentious. Boars. Khamzat Chimaev's nickname Boars is a powerful nod to his Chechen heritage. Boars is the word for wolf in Chechen. In Chechen culture, the wolf symbolizes bravery, loyalty, and strength. The term Boars also historically referred to the homemade submachine guns used in Chechnya during the 1990s conflict. While Chimaev identifies more with the animal symbolism, the double meaning emphasizes his toughness and readiness for combat. Poatan. Alex Pereira's nickname Poatan has a powerful meaning rooted in his heritage and incredible punching power. The name Poatan is derived from the Tupi language and means stone hands, reflecting his extraordinary knockout power. It was given by his first kickboxing coach, a Brazilian of indigenous descent, who noticed both Pereira's ancestral roots and his brutal, hard-hitting fists. Stone hands perfectly encapsulates his devastating left hook and striking ability, powerful tool that defined his kickboxing accolades and his meteoric rise in the UFC. Beyond mere words, Pereira actually tattooed small stone pebbles on his hand. The Machine. Merab Dvalishvili's nickname, The Machine, perfectly captures his relentless pace, immense cardio, and non-stop pressure. A fitting title given by a coach turned teammate who saw Dvalishvili bulldoze through everyone in the gym. UFC lightweight fighter Matt Frevola, who trained alongside him, coined the name. "You're a machine, bro. You don't stop," he said, noting how Merab runs through people in training. Sugar. Sean O'Malley's nickname Sugar, or Sugar, comes from one of his early coaches in Montana, and it reflects more than just a catchy moniker. It's about his fight style and appeal. Coach Johnny Aho, who led O'Malley early in his MMA career in Montana, gave him the name Sugar. It wasn't randomly picked. It was a nod to O'Malley's style, sweet to watch. Initially, Aho referred to him as the Spider, but Sean declined, not wanting to inadvertently mimic Anderson Silva, so Sugar stuck instead. The Diamond. Dustin Poirier's nickname The Diamond carries a lot of meaning and perfectly reflects his resilience. Poirier received the nickname early in his amateur MMA career, and it was meant to reflect how he emerged stronger from pressure. He earned the nickname because of his ability to absorb incredible strikes and then came out on top. Blessed. Max Holloway's nickname Blessed was given to him naturally early in his UFC career and reflects both his fast rise and grounded mindset. Holloway explained that he was achieving success quickly, securing wins and performance bonuses. His coach remarked, "You're blessed, man." The moniker stuck from that moment onwards. The Baddie, a training partner of Paddy Pimblett, asked if he had a nickname, and Paddy said no. Then his coach casually chimed in, "Paddy the Baddie it is." The name stuck instantly, and Paddy embraced it on the spot. The Last Stylebender. Israel Adesanya's nickname, The Last Stylebender, is a creative anime-inspired inspired vision of his martial identity, chosen and molded entirely by him. The nickname is a nod to the beloved anime series Avatar: The Last Airbender. Adesanya, a passionate anime fan, was drawn to the series' central message, mastering the elements and, metaphorically, mastering styles of fighting. Adesanya has said he coined the name himself after feeling a deep connection with the show's ethos, a blend of mastery, art, and personal evolution. The Great. Volkanovski's father is Macedonian and his mother is Greek, mirroring the lineage of the ancient conqueror Alexander the Great, who united Greece and Macedonia. He embraced the nickname to celebrate and acknowledge his shared cultural background, but early in his journey, training and competing in Australia, he was nicknamed the Hulk due to his brute strength, and as his style transformed more into technical, strategic game, he adopted the Great to better reflect his skills, heritage, and ambition. Rush. In his early fights, especially before becoming a UFC champion, GSP was known for his aggressive, fast finishes, often rushing his opponents with takedowns, striking, and pressure. He earned the nickname Rush, as fans and commentators noticed how quickly he overwhelmed his opponents. He finished 5 of his first 7 fights by either KO or TKO. As he progressed and became champion, GSP's style evolved. He became more tactical, risk-averse, and dominant through control, using elite wrestling and fight IQ. Ironically, by the time he was the most dominant welterweight ever, he wasn't really rushing anymore. The Spider. Anderson Silva's nickname, the Spider, is one of the most iconic in MMA, and it perfectly matches his fighting style, long-limbed and elusive. Silva's nickname was inspired by the Marvel superhero Spider-Man. His movements in the cage, fluid, unpredictable, and web-like in range and control, made the comparison stick. El Kukui. Tony Ferguson's nickname El Kukui is one of the most intimidating in the UFC, and it fits his unorthodox, terrifying, and relentless fighting style perfectly. El Kukui is a figure from Mexican folklore, a boogeyman-like creature that's used to scare children, similar to the monster under the bed. Tony, who has Mexican heritage, chose the name himself early in his career. He wanted a nickname that represented fear, chaos, and unpredictability, and El Kukui was perfect for that. As he once said, "It's the boogeyman, bro. I'm the one under the bed." Still Knox. Dricus du Plessis, nicknamed Still Knox, is a clever play on the sleeping aid Still Knox. The nickname was coined by his brother around at the time he turned pro. It refers to Still Knox, implying that it puts people to sleep. The name stuck through his early MMA days, including a dominant span in the EFC where he continued finishing opponents early and decisively. No nickname. Islam Makhachev is one of the few elite fighters who famously does not have a nickname, and it's entirely by choice, reflecting his focus on authenticity and individuality. His coach at AKA, Javier Mendez, mentioned on the MMA Hour that he once suggested a nickname, but Islam Makhachev replied, "No, coach. My name's Islam." At a UFC 302 press conference, Islam said, "No, I don't want to have one because everybody has one. I'm that guy who doesn't have a nickname." The Reaper. Robert Whittaker is best known by the nickname The Reaper, though he's often referred to less officially as Bobby Knuckles. Here's the story behind both. The Reaper, chosen by Robert Whittaker himself. He crafted this nickname early in his UFC career as a symbol of his finishing prowess, inspired by the mythical figure of death, the Reaper. Bobby Knuckles is a fan-born nickname that was coined originally by the fans during the build-up to his fight with Kelvin Gastelum, not by Robert Whittaker himself. The name stuck as a playful alternative, spawning merch and social media buzz, but Whittaker hasn't fully embraced it. Dana White noted the Reaper as a more fearsome and appropriate name for Whittaker, and Whittaker agreed. Nomad. Shavkat Rakhmonov's nickname is Nomad, and it carries deep cultural and personal significance. Rakhmonov is proud of his Kazakh roots, and historically, the Kazakh people were pastoral nomads, moving across the steppes of Central Asia. Early in his career, during regional promotions like the Battle of the Nomads, he didn't have a nickname. Fellow fighters and fans started calling him Nomad, and the name naturally stuck. The Black Beast. Derrick Lewis is famously known by the nickname the Black Beast. The nickname was first attached to him following his professional MMA debut in 2010, when he knocked out Nick Mitchell in the second round. Fans and commentators were struck by his power and presence, and the name the Black Beast quickly struck.